and Chris Eubank Jr. There was a lot of hype regarding this fight and a lot of talk. There was even an interview on a Good Morning Britain over here in the UK. I mean, of course, they're both fighters based here in the UK, so it's going to be much more of a British audience thing.
Mm.
Um, so we are, yeah, there's a lot of hype to find this. All of a sudden, I hear one morning on YouTube, yeah, it was on YouTube that Connor Benn has tested positive for a banned substance, and then everything goes downhill from there. But they are still saying they want this fight to go ahead.
Mm. Yeah. Look, are you there, boy? You there, bro?
No, I can hear you. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So that, yeah, of course. Is that the says you can leave it there? Do you want to carry on?
yeah. Go ahead. I mean, I wasn't gonna
Well,
talk. No,
look, I'll say about my little bit. So I'll say like Connor and not more Connor. It's about their parents, isn't it? Wasn't it? It started from their parents. That's what made this fight so big. That this has never happened before. Two guys that made it in their primes. Connor Bet, not Connor Bet, Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank. We're gonna have like they did a two amazing fights and still hate each other. That not little big rivalry had over 30 years. It's been 30 years since the rivalry, and like that, what their sons were gonna do, was something that's never been seen in, well, I don't know if even British boxing or world boxing. It wasn't seen. So so much like and I can't say the word, anticipation for the fight. That's why it's so much hype behind it. It's very sad what's happened. Even though it wasn't good before this, because you know Chris Eubank Jr. had to cut a lot of weight to get to make the fight happen. I know Conor Benn had to go up weight class as well to meet in the middle. But this wasn't like a how can I explain? It wasn't a fair sort of fight anyways before going in. And then when you find out that Conor Benn's taking, was it chlorophyll or so? Was it chloroform? It was a substance that enhances your testosterone levels. Then you at this level, professional level, it's dangerous. Mike Tyson says people were like, or even Joe Rogan. I my son Joe Rogan was saying like people like take these substances should be like could go to prison because you're endangering someone's life. So,
yes, yeah,
I've heard people say, oh, I don't know if it's true, but the UK doping scene is not as good as USADA. USADA randomly drug tests you. So the USADA is what the UFC guys have to go, and they can just turn up whenever they want. They can go up to your doorstep, or you can be in a toilet, you can be in a shop. You got to tell them where you are all the time. You got your phone on you, and they can turn up anytime, anywhere. I believe he passed his UK um, drug test, but he didn't pass his USADA drug test. But I heard watching numerous videos that it turns out he had the same thing he failed for. I think chloroform. I can't never pronounce it right or wrong. He failed that a few months ago as well, during this year as well. So it's kind of suspect that he probably knows what he's doing, and he probably cheated the British system. There's a video saying that the system in Britain is quite easy to cheat. Um, the one I shared, that link I shared to you as well. If you watch that video, that a lot is saying,
I did, yeah,
yeah, there's a doctor, some of the doctors that boxers a lot of people use. He reckons that 80% of boxers are on PEDs or PEDs or some sort of test, something or whatever. So he passed the British one, but he failed the USADA one. And a lot of fights in Britain, I believe they don't even have to go for USADA. Only a few go for USADA. Most of them is through the British
mm.
doping. I forgot the name of it. It says Aka Wacko. It's called. I forgot its name, but it's a doping agency in the UK, which is a lot easier to pass than America. So Eddie Hearn's obviously going to back. I like Conor Benn. I'm a big Nigel Benn fan, so I'm hurtful. But to be honest with the evidence that's being given and what I've listened to, it seems I can't be 100%. It seems like he has taken drugs, in my opinion. He's taking some sort of substance that he knows is banned. It doesn't need to be. It could be a legal substance, but knowing that it's banned in the sport that you can't take.
You know, when it comes to combat sports, I have to say that, and it's been said before in other podcasts by other fighters, retired fighters, but people who are affiliated with the sport one way or the other. Um, when with combat sports, when you're taking a banned substance which will enhance your performance within the cage, they say that potentially you are now in the position whereby you be performing, but because of what you've taken, potentially you do have the upper hand whereby you could potentially kill your opponent because the punches or the strikes or the kicks, whatever, whatever sport it is, whatever you're going to use to go on the offensive or even be defensive, is going to be 10 times harder, will come with 10 times more force, you
Mm,
understand,
yeah.
than what would normally be expected if you had not taken the banned substance.
Mm, I know.
Um, Furthermore, what I want to add to that was if he's been caught once, should there be an asterisk put next to his name?
Yeah, he
For,
should be banned. He should be, because like Canelo got popped before. I think he should at least be a year or 2 years out, and he should be, he, not be able to legally to compete for at least a year, or suspended for at least a year or so. 2 years at least. If you get caught, otherwise, if someone's gonna get caught by cheating and there's no suspension, there's no backlash from it. Why then? What's up going to stop anybody else from cheating? Think, oh, hang on, we just gets a slap on the wrist. I might as well do it. And another fighters are thinking, well, hang on, I'm risking my life here, and you're not going to suspend a guy who's cheating. Any other sport, you would get banned. Any other sport, you get suspended or some sort of suspension. You know, so yeah, I do think there should be some sort of suspension of it. It's be he can't fight in Britain for a year. I know they had something with Del Boy years ago. Derek Chisora. It wasn't to do with drugs. I don't believe. I don't believe it was drugs, but something happened. I don't know if he was a fist fight outside. He was getting loads. So didn't he get like a European boxing license or something like that? I don't know, something else, and he fought somewhere else. But at least he shouldn't be fighting in Britain or any like Americas as you saw it as well.
yeah.
He should be banned, suspended for at least a year or so. At least it's got to be some sort of consequence because you can't be taking drugs and thinking it's normal. This is a sport that it's not like, oh, I'm taking drugs to run fast. You're not taking drugs. You're taking drugs to hurt someone. You're putting someone's life in danger. It's not. It's really not fair. So yeah, something has to happen.
It's not just that, but I think the person who's been caught out,
Mm.
even if it's just once, I talk about having the asterisk, excuse me, being put next to your name. You kind of damage or dented your whole legacy or record whatever's left of it because in future people will be thinking, well, he or she's been caught once before. How do you know that, regardless of how long it's been since they were last caught, all the achievements and successes they've had between now and that time they were last caught, you know, have they been using or have they not been using? It only takes that one time to get caught, and you kind
Yeah,
of long term damage your whole career.
yeah, yeah. But that's their own fault. You know, if he's gonna find out there's a trace in his protein that's part of it, or they got to find out, it might do doing tests on different things he takes. But then he should have done that beforehand. When he gets to pro level, it's not like he's at amateur level. It's not like he can't afford to do these tests. It's
Yeah.
his own fault. So it's sad because I wanted to see this fight, but at the same time,
Mm.
it's everyone wanted to see this fight, including
Yeah.
Chris Eubank, Junior. He wanted to see this fight. They wanted it a lot, even and plus he's losing out on money. He's losing out on millions, to not get his fight. So it's kind of, it's I can't explain. It sucks. It sucks, but there's repercussions. It is what it is.
Chris Eubank Jr. just the other day, I think it was a Monday or so. He was being interviewed, and I think somehow he. Because you remember what I said to you in the messages before we jumped online. Um, he was saying in the interview, if I'm not mistaken, he was kind of defending Connor, saying that it was actually down to his team, that they must have given him something, and he probably unknowingly took it, and he tested positive. He kind of fell into that trap that maybe they set him up. That he didn't even want it. He wasn't supporting this fight at all. That he wanted to protect his son and stop his son from being murdered by the team.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, if I can't be 100% sure that he knowingly taken this, but no one knows right now. Right now, it's all in the air. You can't say he did. You can't say he didn't. But the test results is he definitely had it in his system.
Yeah,
Maybe he's got to test his supplements that what he's taking. Might read up on what it does and test his supplements that he's taking. What's his intake? But other than that, until we later on, I'm hope he's innocent because I like Connor Benn, but I can't lie. It's hard to disagree with what's in his blood. So I mean, if I was going to say who I thought was going to win, I thought Connor was going to win personally, but sad to see what happened. I don't know if I've got anything more to say about the topic right now because I don't like how Eddie Hearn was actually going to try to make the fight go ahead, even though after he got popped with the banned substance in his body. I kind of make it kind of shines a bad light on Eddie, to be honest with you, because if you're meant to be like looking out for the fighters, and then I know you wanted to put a show on, then obviously that's going to pay for the undercard. And I know some people was going to go on holiday, some boxers were going to go on holiday, but
yeah.
the coaches still get paid for their training camp. I don't think they do. I don't think they do. Has and thanks. I saw Jay earlier. I was about to say. I know he said Johnny Boy. I did say Boy Star, but then you came back. But yeah, thank you though, Jay as well. I appreciate it, man. But no, no. Honestly, I don't think they do. I don't think they do get paid. I don't think they do get paid because the whole point of their money was going to be through either unless they get sponsorship money, they could
Mm.
probably get paid for that. I don't think they do get paid. So yeah, it sucks. It sucks for everybody. So I understand that's why Eddie Hearn probably wanted the show to go on. But even if he did want the show to go on, it's safety first. That's the rules.
Of
Safety
course.
first. And I know some people missed out holidays and all sorts of stuff because I've heard that some boxer booked a holiday with his fiance and obviously they can't go now. So a lot of people got screwed over from that.
I think this is the fight that again I heard it from online. There's a lot of things online you really shouldn't pay much attention to. But I think this was the fight that um, people, even from the US, they were prepared to fly out over here to watch the fight live, ringside.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Flew all
got
the way,
yeah.
they flew all the way over to London and when the fight got pulled, so were they? That sucks. They must get refunds. They must get refunds. They must get. I don't know if they got refund for the plane, but the tickets they'll get refund for. Uh,
The
and
actual fight tickets, probably.
I just want to say, I just saw Aaron put on here. I've got it about your last fight, bro. Next one is yours. Aaron, you'll see the fight. I'll say it live. I don't think I lost. Watch it when you get it. I believe I even looked at that. The photos that were put up were very misleading. Um, like they never showed all my shots that like I usually did a great teep to the head and then a lot of cool stuff as you will see when the fight gets put up. I thought I won round one and three, but I need to watch it back. I thought I'm still upset now. I didn't think I lost Aaron. So to be honest with you, I'm not really gutted because I'm not even taking it as a loss. I'm taking it as a win, regardless of what the judges say. One judge gave it to me, two judges gave it to them. Sorry, I had to say that because that came up. Sorry, sorry, bro. I saw the comment.
Now some of your fans are enjoying the live. That's good.
Good, it's good.
So yeah, so the thing about the money thing, yes, we said Eddie Hearn still wanted the fight to go ahead, and well, understandably, he's a promoter. He's a businessman. His primary concern, naturally, understandably, is to make money. A
Mm.
business has to make a profit, otherwise, it's not a business. And yeah, so that's understandable. But as you said before, safety first, because if this fight had gone ahead, and if there had been fatal consequences, well, I doubt that might be the last thing on anyone's mind.
What Eddie Hearn should have been doing instead of trying to making the fight go ahead, he could have asked, I don't know, other fighters, and maybe, I know Billy Joe Saunders wasn't in shape, but he could have got another fighter to save the show. Got 7 days left. Conor Benn ain't gonna happen. He could have gone out, reached out to other fighters to save the show, instead of trying to push the Conor Benn. He could have kept the show going. Could have kept the show going. He could have brought some hungry youngster or someone who'd really like be up for it, and bring him in for the fight and save the card. That's what he should have done. That's what he should have done. But instead, he tried to push a guy who's already cheated, and he killed the card. That's why Eddie's name got a bit tarnished. It's not going to get tarnished too much because he's.
Yeah, no, I saw on YouTube a lot of people saying "F you, Eddie, you fucking bastard, you're a snake." They were trashing Eddie Hearn online. I saw that quite a few YouTube videos titled with his name and the rest of the sentences not so nice language. I did see that a lot. But if he did get another fighter to replace a Connor, um, don't you think that he would have still gotten some stick anyway? Because people,
Yeah, but it wouldn't be as much. It wouldn't be as much. You could say, look, there's nothing we could do. He was kind of pulled out. But now, because he pulled the whole show and a lot of people lost money, people like that killed it. But then he would not have lost a lot of credibility if he kept saved the show. Even, as a young guy, it could have been anybody to bring in. Anybody to bring in, I know he probably wouldn't, it wouldn't have paid. He's got money to lose. I know that's terrible. Credibility, you might not get that back. Money, you get that back. The business, he would have got that back. He would have got that back. But doing what he did was not good for undercard people undercards. Like UFC, how many times in the UFC? I'm sorry to bring it up. It's not. It's boxing. But how many times in the UFC where someone pulls out and then someone comes in, jumps and saves the card?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
Hamza Chimaev, bang. Okay, we switch it. We're going to put Tony Ferguson, but let me do that. So many times. So many times.
Mhm.
Why not in boxing? You can do it in boxing as well. It can be done. It has been done before as well. So it's just yeah, Eddie's just, I don't know, he messed up there. Instead of pushing for the fight, he should have accepted how it was and try make amends in other ways. It's not fully Eddie's fault because obviously Connor cheated, but it's the way he defended Connor that what people are upset about as well. That he defended Connor, which I respect. He's defended his fighter, but he's been popped. He's been popped, and shouldn't say anything until further. Either say one thing is wrong, or don't try to. You can't justify it. You can't justify a cheat. You gotta wait. You gotta
Yeah.
wait or say nothing.
Look, I know I'll sound like an idiot when I ask this question because you're a fighter, so you have been in the situation inside the cage, in the fight camp, during the weight cut, when you're losing weight, all those things with the pressure on you to do your best and win. Because a lot of people are depending on you yourself. You're depending on yourself to win. There's
Yeah,
your team, your coaches, your sponsors, your family that all rely on you to win because they all want you to come out on top.
yeah, of
Um,
course.
so you must have seen it from the inside. I still regard myself as someone who's very much of a novice, even as a fight fan. But why do athletes do this? I appreciate that it's a way to win. Just like in an exam, you want to pass the exam to get the degree, or whatever. Do you want to succeed? So you do whatever it is to take. You do whatever it takes to pass. But you should also, I'm sure people also have at the back of their minds. I'm going to do this way, even though I know it's the wrong way. What about the chance and the likelihood of me getting caught? And when I do get caught, the consequences can be so severe.
Well, I can't say at the top level because I'm not at the top level, not in the UFC. But I will say is that at my level, there's no testing. So where I go is no testing. I'm clean. I'm pure clean, and you can see my body shape. You can tell I'm clean. You don't need to. I don't even to justify it. But I know guaranteed. I'm not mentioning names, but I think at least three of the fighters I've faced, at least three, maybe more. At least three, I think, were on some sort of sports science stuff. We're going to call it Mexican supplements, whatever you want to call it, pet PEDs. And it sucks because it's not an even fair playing ground. I like it because I like the challenge. I like fighting. I've enjoyed fighting the best. I could have fought on lower shows and probably got easier wins, but I wanted to challenge myself, and I feel like my last fight and the fight before has justified it. It's not fair. It's not fair, but I can't give you a thing on it because I haven't been tested yet. I haven't been in a pool of being tested. And the thing is, the only fight you could say looked good was the first fight was a Cameron Cockrell fight when I shredded, but I didn't take anything there. I was just pure hard work and hard diet. But my other fights I haven't looked shredded at all. But I need to. I'm actually going back down to welterweight. But I can't give you an actual process of how it goes because I'm not in a pool of being doping. I wouldn't understand. I wouldn't understand what goes through a mind who cheats. I wouldn't understand because I wouldn't do that myself. I think it would go against my principles as well, on what I believe in. So, but yeah, someone who does that would be someone who has no, it's selfish self gain, isn't it? They've got nothing to lose, sort of thing. That sort of mindset would be someone who'd do that. There's a lot of people out there in this sport who are like that. Like I
Yeah.
said, not everyone's good in this sport, in UFC and boxing, and also all sports. It's
No,
competitive. People being competitive, they want to win and do what it takes to win.
no, no, there's no doubt, there's no question that 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 does happen. I mean, when you're fighting them, and you said that you've kind of competed against at least three other fighters, and you suspected that something
Mm.
was amiss of how was it from how they're throwing punches, how they're throwing head
Physique,
kicks, and
physique. I
uh,
look at the physique and kind of some things that pop out, like the abs are unusual. You know, parts of body you can tell that that's not, you can't get that naturally. Um, and like I said, there's no. It's like where I'm competing is pretty much like pride. There's amateur rules, there's amateur titles. There's no testing. They're not going to test you. You don't get tested. So it's still cool. I still, in my mind, I think if I won't cheat anyways. I believe my skill. So in my mind's fair. I'll compete against these guys. But when it goes to pro, then it makes it a lot harder for them to cheat. And what happens when people put these substances in their body, it might help them at this point in time. Maybe it might be helping them, to get in the competitive edge. But in later life, it has a massive toll. I know people that who do this testosterone stuff. They have low test levels, which you can get a lot of illnesses, diseases, all sorts of things from it. Chronic pain and everything. So by doing the cheating now, it's going to catch up with them later in life. So it's in my eyes, it's not worth it. Um, but I so there's not a lot more I can say about that. So if people are worth to do it, take the risks, well, they're going to take the health scares in the future.
now speaking of Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr., another guy who's probably a lot more closer to home, that's to do with mixed martial arts, Conor McGregor. Now people have said that this guy just has. Has it been said, or is it rumored that he's never been tested, or is it he's just almost rarely been tested?
Apparently out of the pool, isn't he? Because he's not fighting. Apparently, people believe that he's out of the testing pool. So because he's out of the testing pool, he could be taking stuff right now because he's looking massive, isn't he? So he could possibly be. But that then again, like I said, he looks like he is, but it's suspect, isn't it? We don't know. And he's never been popped. I don't believe he's been popped for anything.
Okay, there was a post online that I think I posted. It wasn't one of the other guys that posted another podcast, but I remember the comment that I put up there was that when Conor McGregor, this guy's never been tested, never been popped. But one thing I do know is that he is the golden boy. He's one of the golden boys of the UFC. Along
Yeah,
with John Jones and some other top guys that got there. So
mm,
even if he has been popped, probably it's been it's been known in private, and only the right people know, including Dana White. He's a golden boy. So the situation will end there and then, and we'll never know about it. And he'll just be
yeah,
carrying on his notorious self.
yeah. Of course,
Yeah.
he's got a business. I don't know if he's got a percentage in it, or I know he got that. Yeah, he is whiskey. through the UFC and stuff. He obviously helps him out that way, and he gave him a lot of leeway with the controversial of breaking the bus and getting people's face glass. So yeah, he gives him a lot of leeway. So there's no doubt he could probably give him leeway. I know Brock Lesnar got a lot of leeway when he fought Mark Hunt. They knew that's why Mark Hunt was trying to get the UFC sued because Mark Hunt was fought Brock Lesnar with the UFC knowing that Lesnar was in the juice, was high on steroids. He failed the drug test, and because they wanted to save UFC 200, don't know, I think that was because was Connor meant to be fighting Nate Diaz or something like that. Or wasn't that got pulled? Connor was meant to fight someone that day. They got pulled because Connor didn't show up at the press conferences or something like that, and they pulled it. Anyways, long story short, yeah, they tried to save it Brock Lesnar, and they knew Brock Lesnar was on gear, but they had to save it. So they knowingly had him on steroids, and they after the fight they popped him, you know. But by that time, Mark Hunt already took a lot of damage in the fight, you know. So Mark Hunt was still for this stage trying to sue the UFC for what happened, and I don't think he's got anywhere with it. I don't know if you know about that story.
Probably not as much as you do, but you've now given me something to think about and to go and research. Now, I know
Yeah.
they've got a lot of dirty dealings in the UFC that Dana White and his cronies. He's well known for that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But then again, you got other fighters who get popped. So you say John Jones. John Jones has been popped. You know, got popped and
more
stripped
than
his.
once. Yeah,
You know, he got once. I think we had marijuana in his system before. He said all sorts of stuff. You know, he hid under the
yeah.
cage. You know, to get tested. You know, so yeah. There's other fighters like who aren't protected. Like Anderson Silva, one of the greats all the time. He got popped. You know, so it's like, yeah, maybe Conor McGregor is one of the very few who they probably could let go because of the amount of money he generates, just like Brock Lesnar. But not all of them, not all fighters. Pretty much, I think UFC is the reason why UFC is so good. Is the reason why some people get popped in the UFC is because that's how it shows how good the testing is. It doesn't show how UFC everybody's cheating. No, no, it just shows how good the testing is in the UFC. I like that because the reason why boxers don't get popped so much is because the testing isn't as rigorous in boxing as it is in the UFC. You know,
But
people don't get rapidly tested that much.
well, like I've just mentioned, we just mentioned Conor McGregor and then John Jones. I
Mm.
mean, these guys have been, well, Conor McGregor. I don't think there's ever been an occasion whereby he's been popped for a banned substance, is there? But now
No.
there's lots of speculation, lots of suspicion. John Jones, on the other hand, um, I think his own case was that he probably has been popped, but then it was disputed or something legal, and then he came out cleared all charges or whatever, something like that. Uh, the point I'm making is that these guys who are the UFC's golden boys may be to a certain extent the a body such as USADA. Dana White has USADA in his pocket,
Mm.
so he probably pays them some money just to keep quiet, let these guys still compete and whatever, just that sort of thing.
He could do, possibly could do. I'm not doubting that he could be doing that. But the reason why the people are saying about Conor McGregor right now is because he's not in the testing pool, and Dana said he's not fighting. The reason why I say he's not fighting, so maybe that's a bit dodgy. That's the reason why he could be cheating because he's not in the USADA pool because he's not competing. So that's why he would be not being tested. Not because he's got a fight up. Oh, the reason he's not tested is he's saying he's not fighting. But he is fighting because Dana's got him like he can keep chuck him in like
Mm.
that. But that's why he's up. That's why people are upset. It's like any fighter who's not. I think like GSP when he's not like he some fighters who stay retired are still in the pool because they say they're retired, but they're still in the pool so they can come back at any moment and
Mm.
they're ready to fight. I think you've got to be in the pool for a certain amount of time before you can even compete. So maybe if he comes back, he's got to be in a pool for a while. He's got to be in the USADA pool when they can just turn up. And I remember when USADA first came around. Was it after Varda? Who was that before? I forgot the other one was. But when first USADA came in, all the Brazilians, a lot of Brazilians were getting popped left, right, and centre. A lot of these fighters, a lot of people like looked up to and thought these amazing was just getting popped. TJ Dillashaw got popped, and other lots of fighters got popped during the period. I think it was like from 2000. 2012 was it, or 2011, up to like even to this day, like it's been so rigorous that it's made it a lot harder for fighters to get, but like I said, not everybody's Conor McGregor. Not everybody can bring in that sort of money. So not everybody's going to be getting that favoritism. Oh, and if you think about one in boxing, I think everybody's doing it. I know it sounds terrible. I didn't say everybody's doing it, but a lot of people in boxing at the high levels. Other than, I looked at one particular person, and I shouldn't be saying he is, but Joe Joyce. I looked at his last fight, and he looked very good shape. And no offense at his age, he's late 30s, and he looked like in the best shape of his life. I mean, he could have done it through natural training. He might have cleaned his diet up. Could have, used a lot more strength training in his program. So I shouldn't completely take that away from him. But in a short period of time, I thought that he looked a bit sus in his last fight. But who knows? Who knows? I don't want to keep going on that and like calling people out because I could be lying. It could be that it's all hearsay. But the thing is with boxing and UFC is UFC. The reason why people get popped is because the testing's that good.
Couldn't over here in the UK, our the equivalent of USADA in the US, couldn't they just take a leaf out the USADA's book and probably just improve their testing vigorously? Yeah,
A lot of money. It costs a lot of money. That's what it is. It costs a lot of money. Yeah, and I don't think the British are willing to pop that out as much as as UFC does. I don't think like Bellator is as strict as UFC. So I
yeah,
think it's only UFC can do it because they got a lot of money. I'm not saying the British haven't got a lot of money. Eddie Hearn's got definitely got lots of money, and I think that's why they did do the USADA for that fight, and I bet he's gutted he did that now because he got popped. But that just shows how good the testing is.
yeah. Oh, I think we've covered quite a bit with this steroids thing. But it's an interesting conversation because you know, still, I mean, Mr. Eubank's interview, it kind of surprised me because I thought that when he would come out, I mean, did you hear it?
I haven't. I can't say I have.
I was surprised okay, well, may not understand so much, but I'd advise you to, go and listen to it. I mean, some people say it's quite emotional when he was saying what he said, so he would have probably
It's
been thinking to
by
a
the
much.
ring. Was it just by the ring? Was he next to a ring and he's talking to two people by a ring? Next to a
No,
ring?
it was over the phone. I think he was in South Africa with his wife on vacation or so, and the two other guys there it was a podcast or combat sports channel based here in the UK. I think they had him on the phone and they were asking about the whole situation. He was saying, "Look, the fight I didn't support from the get go,
Hmm.
but I think he was kind of let me be sure what I'm saying. Yes, he was somehow was defending Connor Benn, saying that it must have been one of his team. They must have known what's going on, put something in his food or drink, and he mistakenly took it, and here's where we are now. He was saying that he didn't support the fight, that he's always tried to protect his son, and that this fight potentially could result in the murdering of his child. So people saying when he said that, probably was just being very emotional and probably wasn't thinking straight. So, yeah, I was a bit surprised. I mean, wow, maybe he's kind of thinking that there's more to this than what's been reported in the press that this person's been popped and blah blah blah.
A link to that. We'll have to watch that.
I will do. I'll tell you send it to you.
No.
Um, hmm. Anything else you want to cover?
Not on this. I hope they fight again. I hope I would love to see the fight happen. But I do think it's sad because this is their primes. Well, not say Connor's prime, but more. This next
But
one.
yeah,
I don't think this is even Eubank Jr.'s prime. I think it's past slightly. Oh, he's just a little bit edging in left of his prime. So
yeah,
it'd be the best time to do it for Eubank Jr. right now. But I think if it was going to happen, Connor Benn's got to have a year out, and then they'll look at it down the year down the line, or 6 months or 8 months they've got to give him. And I think that if they half the ban, then I think Eubank Jr.'s got to take 50% of Conor Benn's purse because of what happened. because it's only fair.
I'm thinking about that. Um, I'm thinking about what his father said in the interview.
And if
Uh,
Conor Benn believed in himself that much, he would do it.
if Connor Benn believes in himself,
That much, he would do it.
I see there's some logic to what you're saying. Yeah, yeah.
You
Oh
know.
God.
I'll leave it there, man. I'll leave it there. This is a good chat, bro. Honestly,
All
thank
right,
you.
man. Definitely.
Again, appreciate it, man.
Definitely. All right. So, all right. I'll message you for the next episode if you're feeling up to it.
Definitely up for it, man. We have to set it up. Let me know what we're going to talk about, and we'll get proper segments and watch as much as we can about it. I watch is what I've done. I was watching this before this started, but I watch more, and we get a big debate going in. But I really enjoy this, honestly. I didn't know about that interview, and I hope you send me the interview afterwards.
Definitely. And next time we'll definitely start a lot earlier, probably 9 p.m. Not
That'd
this
be
late.
oh, that'd be better for me as well, man. Honestly, thank you.
Yeah. All right, and take care.
Let's take it easy, man.